All right, and we're live, and I'm typing.
You're not supposed to type during the 30 seconds of silence.
I was trying.
Stream.
All right.
Over.
So now,
Ruined.
I can filter out all of my typing, so I can type the whole time.
Okay, cool. Never mind.
Because it'll all
I'm
be
just gonna.
filtered.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to Edward, how safe for work with the cut?
Oh yeah.
What are we talking about?
I unboxed or I flipped through Astro Inferno. Here's the thumbnail here. This one. Yeah, this guy. So it's like a big black Bible. They used like 150-gram paper, so it's like almost cardstock.
Okay,
and
that's
so
cool.
a 200-page book was like this, like a telephone book, and of course they did the gold gilt edges, and then this really cool like stained effect. They had two versions, and they did a stained effect on the pages, so it looked like it was old and moldy and everything.
Cool.
And then they lightened the art, so it looked faded. So the other one is like red details and really bright art, because some of it's kind of anime in style, inspired looking stuff. But yeah, but it's all as super satanic black metal as you can go. They're trying to out grimdark, and the Swedes could do that too. They between the Norwegians and the Swedes, I think they could give Games Workshop a run for their money.
Okay, they probably could.
They burnt all their wooden churches in Norway.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure they could, but I'm thinking like sometimes things obviously like you tried too hard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this was walking a real fine line between that, because it was like super Satan, but they also did a bunch of technology, and they tried to give the system a structure, so it wasn't just like how cool. It wasn't like so much rule of cool, but some kind of like using pantheons and different structures. And your character had its flaws were sins, and and there were like marks on the character that defined kind of what they did, and they were trying to do it in the actions you performed were like verses of this song. And so that's how it was structured. And so when the song was finished, your soul dies, but the Dark Lord keeps bringing you back. So it's very metal. So but the book is just insane, and it's a really interesting mashup of that real Morkborg kind of heavy heavy grungy looking splattery scratchy illustration, and then like anime mecha kind of cyberpunk stuff. It's quite an achievement. take a look at the flip through and see. So it's interesting. The one thing that they did that I wasn't sure, I before the flip through, I didn't read what it was called, but the book itself doesn't have a treatment on it. It's Swiss raw is what they call it. So when you take the dust jacket off of a hardcover book, and that paper, like you have a fabric binding, there's like fabric tape or something over a binding, but just the cardboard, just that cardboard, like maybe paper wrapped cardboard, that's the surface of the book. So it's not like faux leather, or it doesn't have a gloss or anything on it. So that felt a little raw, and I was worried that that's gonna soak up things or become a little
that just make it more metal.
Get more damaged. Yeah, it can get easily damaged. So that was the only thing that was surprising, but all the other details, and it had a lifted binding, like a removed binding. So the folios themselves are on one side, and the book opens completely flat. So it was perfect for flipping through on camera. And maybe that's why they went with such a thick book, is because it could open that way.
Lay flat.
Yeah. So that open binding was really, really cool too. But just quite an object. I've been like interested in weird RPG objects recently.
Kind of reminds me of a discussion on Blue Sky, where I forget who said it. The person said that there's basically one thought is there's kind of like two schools of thought. One, which is the object you kind of collect, and one is the object you play with. And that's what we kind of have this, like, you think about, like, okay, it kind of came up because of tariffs and like the rising price of everything. And people were like, long live the age of PDFs. And we're like, it was to talk about like the price of PDFs, right? And the reason why people kind of tend to balk at a high price of PDFs is because PDFs are seen as like the buy and play, not the buy and display.
Right. Yeah, you're not gonna have it on a bookshelf.
You're not gonna have a bookshelf of PDFs. But anyway, No, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I recently, like, functionally I don't have to buy anything physical because I'm almost exclusively playing online. Like all the actual play stuff is online, so yeah, there's not really any need to. But it's like, these Kickstarters are allowing these companies to really do gorgeous final products. I mean, like Two Little Mice is doing really nice looking stuff.
I've deleted every single Kickstarter email for the Outgun superheroes. I'm like, I just can't. No, God, no. Yeah.
It'll be around. It'll be around. Yeah, that's the nice thing too. Is every one of their campaigns, you still can get not only previous Outgun, but Household and their
I saw that. I saw the price in that.
Dante's Inferno stuff.
And then I got up off the floor.
Yeah. They you pay what it costs.
Yeah, I'm not certainly not saying it's not worth it, but I'm saying it's pricey.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's I've been kind of caught between that because it's a funny thing, and it's nice to have, like, that's why I like old versions of things. Like over here's a big what's going to be a big shelf of RPGs, and it's all like previous versions of stuff, so it's nice to just have that to refer to. Like when we were painting the miniatures for War Master, I could just pull out old army books for Warhammer Fantasy, and then have the the colors and examples of the heavy metal painted
you could
miniatures.
just go to 2mm and just say, oh, it's just the impression, right? Yeah.
So that kind of stuff is really fun. I like library type stuff, but I agree. So it's funny, and Japan is a very they love paper, they love books, but it's such an unfriendly climate to books. If you go into a lot of the used bookstores, they just like accept the fact that there's going to be mildew spotting and things on old copies. Anything that's got some age on it is not going to be in great condition.
Oh, everything's just here, it's dusty.
Yes. So what have you been up to? Anything?
Not much.
Yeah. Posted anything? Still have you finished any? Oh, you were doing the
finally finished the labels on everything.
Good. Yeah.
Finally finished the labels. Then I wasted my time by binging Love, Death, and Robots Volume 4 last night.
Why would you do such a thing?
Yeah, right. Hate watching. I literally hate watching, right? Like that. I copped to it. Yes.
Yeah. Those anthology things are always, it's so hit and miss. You get one that's like, okay, well, I watched 4 episodes that sucked, and Black Mirror's kind of like that too, where it's just I
have not watched any Black Mirror.
Yeah, where you're just like, well, that was a waste of my time, and you'll get one that you're like, okay, cool, that was an interesting idea.
I did like Blumenkamp's Oats Studios.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're right, it's an anthology, so some of them are like, there we are. But like most of those were just like, those were weird, and those were pretty good.
And that's all like Unreal Engine or something. They're using like some like game or like some kind of standardized technology.
Think some of them, but I swear some of the for the Oats ones, I swear some of them were live action. I mean, you had like Sigourney Weaver and they do. Yeah, but I think they use a combination of CG and stuff. Yeah. Interesting. Some of them I think were just Anyway, you're probably right. Where there's a
they have it's a really cool integration, and that was the thing they were kind of bragging about early on, and like when they did Chappie and when he did that stuff.
People didn't like Chappie, but I thought it was okay.
He's a happy Chappie.
I thought it was okay.
You're just a big fan of the band that was in it.
No. Okay, like it was heavy. It was a bit heavy-handed with the moral and the message, but I'm just like, otherwise this is okay. Anyway.
Yes. South Africa's finest. I wonder if he's seeking asylum currently.
You're not supposed to get political.
I'm sorry. Not supposed to get political. It's a joke. All right. So let's get started for this week. Take a look quickly at everybody in chat. Thanks, everybody just jumped in. Welcome, Arturo, Abyss, Calerion, and Matt. Good to see you guys.
Restream.
Hey, Restream says hi. And so we did a premiere of Matt's garage unboxing. He had a big box of 80s, of stuff a box that was stored in his garage forever. He had no idea what was in it. It was left by a friend.
That's fine.
And just opened and went through everything. So we hung out in the chat and did the premiere. We were thinking about if we could have gotten Will on stream, it would have been fun to record like a commentary. Because the video would go up and then we could discuss it, because there was a lot to talk about.
So Japanese style.
Right.
Someone else responding to a recorded thing. Yeah, okay.
And I think if I put it on Patreon, I can do that MKV like wrapper for it, so you can choose the audio channel. So it can be the original channel, or it can be us talking about what Matt was opening, because he's seeing everything for the first time, and now he's had time to process it. Now we can discuss it. Yeah, because we should figure out a way to do that. Maybe even with the actual plays, like
riff
that.
tracks?
Yeah, riff tracks, yeah, with our silhouettes. So, but that might be something that we need to figure out how to do, because I think we could get some fun, like going back and talking about, kind of like the campaign confessions on Idle Red Hands. So you can watch the actual play, and then you can also flip over and listen to us, like our thinking and why we did that and how they were thinking about their characters and stuff. There's like another layer of stuff that would be fun.
I'm silently laughing because that's a way you get extra content out of pre-recorded material.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Just do a director's commentary. Yep. Yeah. Hey, Hodags in the chat. Hey. Yeah, everybody is there. Good. Okay, so let's get started for this week before Chris has to go. Oh, yeah. All right. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, a little more tariff talks, and we're kind of on a 90-day hold. GW sues 280 sellers and freezes their accounts.
Okay.
Riverbank RPG, for the cozy fans in the audience, by Kobold Press. That's why it kind of jumped out at me. And Mantic goes full Kickstarter.
Full Kickstarter.
Never go full Kickstarter.
Okay.
As they say.
Okay.
All right, but let's see how that goes. And first... it's music. All right, our Tales of the Trade War, and so we're...
that was actual footage of me. Kind of
yeah, I like that. That was...
wish.
So, the big news is the United States and China have been in talks. They've agreed to both lower their additional tariffs by 115%. So what does...
We're still just in like imaginary numbers here, aren't we? Like, you raise it by this funny amount, I'll raise it by this.
So that means that American imports are down to 10%, but Chinese imports are still at 30%. So that's not, nothing. That's not nothing. It's going to be less of an impact. There is a pause.
Not nothing.
It's not nothing. Hey, nothing. Pause for 90 days. So that was imposed on April 2nd. So 90 days from April 2nd, we'll see. We've got some comments from the Treasury Secretary. We do not want trade. We want more balanced trade. And I think that both sides are committed to achieving that. We would like to see China open to more U.S. goods. We expect that as negotiations proceed, there will also be the possibility of purchase agreements to pull what is our biggest bilateral trade deficit into balance, that it's gotten out of balance. So they're trying to end the tit for tat kind of, 10%, well, plus 2%, well, plus 10%, when they got over 100%. And we'll see. We'll see what that means at the end of 90 days. Everyone's been holding their breath, and now there's this pause. So the excruciating, wait and see continues.
I'm not going to pretend to know in depth how business works. But like other people have said online, this seems to just be like, look how much we're importing from China. Look how much we're exporting to China. That's a huge imbalance. It's like, well, okay, but look at the other countries we like. Is it a net zero thing? Like, we import this from countries that have and or produce it, and we export stuff we make to countries that don't have or produce that thing, and it doesn't have to go to the same place. Am I wrong here?
Right. Yeah, but I think the weird imbalances are just they're taking advantage of the cheap labor, and in most cases, prison or illegal labor or basically slave labor. There's a lot of like child labor and things that it's really dodgy. I mean, this isn't specifically addressing this, but it is kind of forcing companies to say, okay, let's not rely on one source and giving them so much power to abuse. And China's in a weird situation where they've been successful long enough that now workers are demanding more money, so they're not the cheapest game in town anymore. They're still the most skilled. That's the thing that's making it hard to move a lot of manufacturing away from China, is they're so well educated and they're so adept at doing everything they need to do as far as the engineering and design and the electronics, that other countries don't have that educated kind of a working class can pick that up. But I think it's good that companies are saying, let's get stuff from different places, so nobody can pull those shenanigans on us where they're like, oh, well, you like your surgical tubing?
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Right? Like monopoly, yeah, sure. Let's. But okay, I'm gonna get political. No, just instead of putting tariffs on stuff, why don't you just go? You know what? We need to. It's going to take a decade, 15 years. How about we invest in the knowledge and ability to start producing that stuff? Or we'll help other countries do that. So in 10 to 15 years, but that's the thing. They don't want to wait the 10 to 15 years. And they don't want to invest. And like, talking about child labor, I'm like, have you seen the state of the U.S. Education Department and all this stuff? And I'm just like, man.
What? That still exists? That's a thing?
In about like 2 years, we're going to be right up there in child labor too, right? With all this like social media bans for under 16 so they can't organize or know what's going on in other states. And we're just like, yep, sorry, back to the meat packing factory where dad worked, right? Sorry. Okay. Rant over. On the game stuff.
Yes. So what's happening with Cephalofair? So they talked to Kij Johnson, the COO, and they're talking about Johnson. Yes. So the pause on the 145% tariff is good. They've got a ton of stuff at a Shanghai warehouse that they got to figure out how to get out of there. So Johnson said, I'm talking with my freight partners. Half of them are telling me, I'm sorry, check again tomorrow. Everything's in chaos right now and changing hour by hour. So it's going to require very quick and very thorough cost projections. Everything seems to come down to uncertainty. So this is this is a quote from the economics professor at UC Davis. Everything comes down to uncertainty. Basically, if I were shopping, I would be shopping now rather than in a couple of months. And let's put it that way. So the tariff crisis. This is Johnson again. Tariff crisis is reduced right now, and so the freight crisis. But the freight crisis expands. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. The rest of the financial year has been decimated for us. Yeah. So the tariff thing may be going away, but now the price of freight is changing, and that's even a bigger thing that you're looking at a number beforehand. They don't give you that bill after. You're paying that before things go on a boat. So it's unlike tariffs. We'll see what happens there. Because
I'm painting tiny Romans and watching asterisks and obelisks, I'm going to be a nerd here. The year has been decimated. So what? 1 out of the next 10 years has been pulled out and flogged? Okay, fine. Sorry. All right. I'm sure that joke went over like a lead balloon. All right.
Well, 90 days. Yeah, we're kind of waiting on the 90 days. But they were talking about... so Hatchet Board Games USA was talking to Board Game Wire. So Board Game Wire did a big kind of roundup about now what is facing the board game industry. So this change is actually super helpful for us. A 90-day pause is not long enough for us to return to business as usual, but a lot of shipping containers canceled their sailing plans, and that's a large backlog of products in China. So like in 2 months, every 2 months of shipping for every industry, and the board game industry does not have the flexibility of income to afford a shipping rate increase that larger industries can. So they're looking at, because people have kind of stopped for a little bit, that prices are just going up because they got to fill those. They want to fill those containers and pay for all that, pay for all those boats. So they're anticipating this will be like after COVID, after the COVID lockdowns ended, and we were getting our containers bumped off ships by companies that were willing to pay more. So
like as in left at the port. I thought like literally dumped into the ocean.
They're waiting for a ship to get on. So now that there's been kind of now it's a rush. The tariffs are okay. No tariffs. Okay, get on, everybody back onto the boat.
Never really considered that.
And the shippers are just scumbags. It's like, okay, they're just
Why'd you point at me? I said scumbag.
It's like, who's willing to pay 200% more, or 300% more, 300% more?
I never really.
Yeah, it's like the last boat out of Hong Kong.
Right. Yeah, I never considered that would happen. Like, okay, like basically bidding. For a place.
Yeah, because you want it soon, and the time frame is very important. So depending on the rates, it may be wiser to hold products until these rates subside. But this introduces other elements of uncertainty, and so if they can get higher rates and they can continue to get higher rates, why would they charge less? It's going to be Going to be fun. So the damage is already done. They're talking about in this article. So yeah, we saw Come On announced that it's laying off staff like crazy. We saw some smaller people just said we are done. Yeah, Greater Than Games, the Spirit Island publisher. The Boardlandia owners announced that towards the end of April they had closed down their business. And then we already talked about Cephalofair. Yeah, so it's nothing is going to. We still have so the case, the Stonemaier Games case. They're one of the clients still involved. They're still moving forward, and they're basically, because they're probably not going to have any damages. They're probably just wanting to get this straightened out. Like, who has the authority to do this? Isn't this something Congress or Senate? The Senate should be doing, not the president by executive order. So we'll see, and there's also a movement, which I guess GAMA is pushing forward, the trade organization for board games, an exemption for the board game industry, meaning like a zero tariff on toys initiative, so that they don't get hung up, because they do have probably all the industries kind of the slimmest, except for Games Workshop, but they have the slimmest margins in a lot of cases. All right. Yes, but so this isn't directly related, but this is another weird piece of news from the current administration. The Copyright Office head has been let go, has been fired.
So they seem to be firing people left and right.
Yes, and this name jumped out to me because we've heard this name before in kind of Disney shareholder news. So the head of the U.S. Copyright Office basically posted a statement that was saying this is an unprecedented power grab with no legal basis. One lawmaker said they looked like they weren't going to side. They put out a statement that they weren't going to side with big tech, that they're kind of round up, they're gorging on all this copyright data to feed their AI is not okay. And so they released that statement, and that's not what the administration wants to hear. They're on the side of big tech, so you're going to have to lose your job. So, and people were anticipating, there was a law professor that said, yes, if this purge at the Copyright Office was incoming, they may felt they needed to rush this out. Of course, the Copyright Office cannot make binding law, or they just make recommendations. They're kind of consulted for, law as far as like legal issues about copyright, but they're not the ones that make the law. So the various uses of copyrighted work in AI training are likely to be considered transformative now. That's what the administration wants, so it's not illegal, because the thing that they're producing does not directly compete with the original. So yes, that's 100 years of media is now just going to be digested into a gray slurry that we can all digest. But the one thing that really stood out, so remember the day where if you wanted someone to draw you like you were a character on The Simpsons, you'd have to actually know a Simpsons animator. Yep. And now ChatGPT just does that. I want to look like The Simpsons. And you get your Simpsons portrait. And you don't even have to know anybody. So big tech companies want an exception to the copyright law to allow them just to steal all this stuff. And it looks like they're going to get it. And but the head of the Copyright Office was Shira Perlmutter, and Perlmutter stood out because I think that was one of the big Disney shareholders that was kind of battling for Marvel Comics. Like he was involved with fighting for like separating the companies out and selling off Star Wars or whatever. He was involved in a lot of legal fights.
Have a monopoly?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I wonder if there's related. It's a kind of a rare name, so I was wondering if there's any relation. But anyhow, so let's go on to more ugly stuff.
Ugly legal news. Okay.
Ugly legal news. This is where you get all your ugly legal news. So Games Workshop. Hey, of course, how can they not get involved? They have frozen the assets amid a worldwide seller takedown. So obviously some of this is justified, but when they do these big roundups, there's a ton of people that just, because they are not doing this themselves, they're not having it's not a case-by-case basis. It's just they get a law firm to just, blanket attack anybody that's out there.
Because my first thought was, this might be justified. Mm-hmm. Then my second thought was, as you just said, probably just blanket.
There's people that get caught up in this. So yes, they initiated a crackdown, suing 280 sellers, freezing their accounts and their sales platforms. So your favorite online marketplaces may no longer have anything even slightly looking like Games Workshop, because they this is their orbital bombardment. That's hard to say. Their exterminatus of everything that could dilute their brand, that could be that could look bad. So what they did basically is they shut down online stores, locked accounts, and panicked a bunch of vendors that were relying on this stuff. But these people were obviously pushing counterfeit kits. They were things that were recasts. There's a lot of Chinese recast sellers and people that basically with a 3D scanner are just scanning models and selling digital files or even maybe printed digital files of actual GW work.
Okay.
And even things like using the word Citadel on your brush holder is not okay. So let's go.
Like so far, I hate to side with
you're on there.
I hate to side with GW.
Yeah, once a GW employee, always a GW.
Hey, you don't got to spread that around.
So the case is the Games Workshop Limited versus Schedule A defendants. So you want to stay off that list. The preliminary injunction hearing is May 27th, but what they were able to do is basically get a temporary restraining order, a TRO, on everything. And they tried to do this, so they didn't want sellers bailing, hiding assets, wiping their store pages. Okay. So there's no advance warning, and the TROs were issued. And they're working with, what's the law firm? So what they're claiming, first of all, is a trademark infringement, false destination of origin, and they want relief under the All Writs Act for, lost sales, basically. But that's one of those things that's really hard to, with their prices, do they actually believe anybody that's buying the counterfeit
their prices,
stuff?
How much do they? How many? It'd be like we didn't sell one box. Whoa, that's already like $500, right? Just at their prices, right?
Yeah, so what they're basically looking at is fake minis, improperly branded merchandise, and shady listings. And that's the thing that I think they're definitely entitled to handle. People that put Warhammer in listings and they're not selling anything. It's just trying to get it to rank. Yeah, just eyeballs on it.
I'm with Matt here. Can't complain about them going after counterfeits.
Yeah.
I can't complain about.
Right.
Far, what I'm hearing.
Right.
Like,
okay.
The worst person in the world has just made a point, and you're just like, whatever that means, you're just like, oh,
right.
Yep. Anyway,
but they've set aside, so they've posted bonds of $10,000 per seller, and they're doing this. It's $2.8 million. They're kind of setting aside, and this does not include their legal fees, to basically handle any mistakes they make. So it's a possibility that some of these sellers they're going after, it's not legitimate, and the sellers will have recourse. They have no claim.
Maybe a bit more. Don't orbital bombard that shit.
Right. So some of the platforms they're going after are things like Alibaba, Etsy, eBay, AliExpress, DHgate, and of course, most of those sellers are located in China and the UK. So it's Brickle IP Group is the one that is blanket carpet bombing these digital. Yeah. So yes, so there is some blowback though, because they are kind of scooping up. There's some dolphins in those tuna nets, as you could say. So
or in Japan that don't matter for funny beans.
Yeah, right. So people have gotten caught up unfairly. So that anybody that mentions in their title Warhammer 40K, for kind of placement or visibility, they're locking their accounts. They're basically like freezing their accounts. Like we said, the wooden brush holder, what they use the word Citadel on it, even if it was shaped like a citadel, using official logos from the store on their store pages, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
The interesting thing though is because the online system is a bit more complicated, there are people that are Shopify affiliates. So they're not they're just like posting links and get a percentage of those of the sales that go through those links on a Shopify account. Mm-hmm. So they're not vouching or verifying for what that merchandise is. They've never touched it. They have no claim to it, but they're also getting their accounts frozen. So anybody that has an affiliate through Shopify connected to any of these has already been targeted. So so this reminded some people of Spots the Space Marine, the infamous takedown campaign about a decade ago.
That was silly. I mean, you can't. Space Marine, okay, you have an IP attached to Space Marine, and everyone knows the GW Space Marines. Mm-hmm. Space Marine, the word is not yours.
Right. And recent YouTube copyright strikes just to take fan work and stuff down. So so printing knockoffs or slapping Games Workshop logos on a box, of course they should enforce, because that is dilution of brand and basically piracy or bootlegging, but their enforcement is pretty sloppy. So there's a comment that was on this article that said, "I'm one of the many smaller sellers that got caught up in this, and honestly, it's been rather overwhelming and a really frustrating experience. UK based. Last year, I briefly ran a small Etsy shop where I sold a handful of T-shirt designs, 14 sales total, less than £100 in British pounds in profit." All profits went to a small animal charity, and the designers of the original pieces were inspired by fantasy themes. Cats in armor with comical twists inspired by Warhammer and Doom. And I thought that it would help raise money in a funny way, not cause legal trouble. I did not use official artwork. Everything just had the word Warhammer and cat lovers in the title, which is I now understood is what flagged me, and so I haven't sold anything since January. Was never malicious. Didn't intend to harm Games Workshop. Just having fun with the IP. And Green Stuff World was even hit by this because they mentioned
Green Stuff World is kind of.
Yeah. They mentioned, and this is just because they mentioned in their branding you can paint Warhammer with it.
Okay, that's stupid, right? Getting flagged for this because yes, you can paint Warhammer miniatures with. No, that's stupid, right? Orbital bombardment. Just the thing about orbital bombardment and where the metaphor here kind of stops. Orbital bombardment, ain't nobody left to complain about what happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
This one, you're like, no, people are still there, right? Anyway.
Right. Yeah. So this is, this makes sense because there are a lot of people, and this is with everything that Games Workshop produces because of the prices and kind of the availability. It's not not widely available, so there are a lot of people knocking it up, but there are a lot of people scalping it as well. So their prices and kind of limited production of some of this stuff, like limited quantities, just so they sell out on their websites, is also creating this weird market. So it's creating, if you want to participate in this at all, it is, you're kind of trying to do poor hammer, and you're buying old minis and stripping the paint off of them, or you're looking for alternative sculpts of things that are, galactic marines or whatever.
See, that's
you can
thing,
proxy.
Okay, I got two thoughts here. One, Games Workshop is partially responsible for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, as you said, okay, setting prices at what they set, printing limited quantities, and then knowing that there's this kind of scalper problem just pushes people towards, as you said, proxies.
Right.
That wouldn't be a problem, like if you said, astral soldiers, right? Okay, we know what you're saying, but it's not. If people are sculpting them themselves, making all kinds of designs inspired by, but it's still left okay, we filed off enough of the serial numbers to get in trouble.
Right.
Well, then there's not really a problem, right? I can't fault GW for saying recast, copy, counterfeit, right? Scalper, sure, that I understand, but they also don't seem to be realized that they're kind of causing the problems, right?
Yeah, they are kind of. Creating this weird demand. Well, just like the availability of Hollywood movies or music or whatever. Especially Australia loves to BitTorrent because they're always the last to receive a movie. They're the last to get the rights for a TV show. So the internet is talking about something, and in Australia, you're like, fuck, I wish I could.
Japan too.
watch
Sometimes you're like, cool, all right, and you're like.
Right.
When is this gonna come out?
Yeah,
right?
so there's certain things, and because and in this case a lot of this stuff is digital as well, or has a digital source. What they're probably going to be encouraging is people not making money off of this, but it's just going to be out there. It's going to be out there and downloadable. All of these illegal scans and stuff are just going to be on download sites to access. Nobody's going to be making money, but it probably will still be hurting their.
That's another thing that GW has to deal with. And if they didn't make their stuff so silly expensive,
So, it's an interesting problem, and they're they need to go after, because and if you don't enforce your IPs, if you don't enforce your copyrights, that you are kind of saying we don't care. We can lose these.
Point taken.
Yeah,
right?
So they have to do this, but they do also have to understand that the harder, and I think that's why they use a third party. They're using a legal service, a legal group to do this, so it's not they're a little bit removed, and they say, "Oh, sorry, they
time.
accidentally, it wasn't us. These crazy lawyers, you know."
Yeah.
And so they have a little bit of deniability because they push too hard, and the people that just want to participate in the fandom of it and not play the games, not literally, are really getting disgusted, you know, by that kind of stuff.
Then I think GW is going to learn. Hey, formal GW, I'm playing here. GW is going to learn like the hard way eventually. That's not the way to go about it, right? Like, I don't think you want a small group of customers, right? Like, you want to broaden this base out, and eventually those whales are going to get old and die.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
Then what are you going to do?
They keep trying to get their kids into it, though. That's the thing I see. Well,
come on, man! Like, what GW whale has kids? They play GW. They don't even have a house. They're living in
but
their
the
parents'
kids don't have food, but they may have
the kids
kids.
over here, like, eat these sprues, right? Yeah, we've all seen that joke, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, sorry, it is right. It's ridiculously expensive, and given all the other options available, I kind of don't understand why people stick to GW.
Yeah,
I mean, sure, there's sculpt. GW, nothing wrong. Sure, like, sure, GW sculpts look amazing. They're awesome. Like, last time when I pick up a box, I'm like, $75 for like this one. What? No, like there are so many other things you could be doing.
Yeah, and it's just that weird future-proof pricing that they're doing, where they keep the prices like 5 years ahead of where they really need to be, just so they never lose money. They never lose money. So anyhow, let's shift to a cozier topic. This was odd, and I don't know. And you've already kind of stated your opinion about this genre, but Kobold Press is very soon launching what this article called the antithesis of D&D.
Okay, let's see if you live up to that. I'm guessing not.
Cozy cottagecore TTRPG swaddled in childhood nostalgia, and that would be Riverbank. So Riverbank TTRPG, very like Wind in the Willows vibe.
So your classes are mole, rat, badger, and toad.
Yep, pretty much. So yes, on backer kit from April. So we got a couple more weeks probably on this. A wondrously childhood nostalgia-inducing TTRPG. Of course, yes, you called it anthropomorphic animals, or in the game they're called sophisticated critters. So the game itself, the reason this is interesting and a little bit interesting is it's written by Hugo and Nebula award-winning Kij Johnson. Okay. So the story is, going to be handled well. It's tea and poetry and total disaster. So yeah, you're navigating the intricacies and often the bedlam of polite animal society, taking in the precarious tranquility along a slow part of the river. I'm getting cozy poisoning at this point.
Okay.
So, of course, Kobold Press is one of the largest publishers of third-party D&D material. So this is an interesting kind of choice for them. Instead of promoting, or I guess it's, in addition to, but instead of promoting their Tales of the Valiant a little bit harder, they're trying to go all cozy on us. So tea parties, village fairs, garden strolling, and fancy balls. So sounding, a little bit like Wanderhome. I think that there's a lot. And recently, Stew Pot, I think, is another game that came out where you're just like making stew in a
I know
tavern.
very little about those other two games. I keep looking at Wanderhome, and I know of Stew Pot. Knowing who made them and the teams that made them, I have to think both those games have bespoke mechanical systems that support the type of play they claim to be about.
Yeah.
Not so sure about Kobold Press. I mean,
Could just be D20.
I'm not saying they are or are not, but when I hear about it, I'm like, class and level system. I would be very surprised if it's not.
Right. So you're putting points in your scones ability?
Maybe.
So optimized for 3 to 5 players. It's cozy but potentially disastrously chaotic setting. So yeah, we'll see. They launched already in April, so you can take a look at this. It's a gorgeous book. Like what they produced looks like a children's fairy tale or storybook. It's really nice illustration, really gorgeous design. I just don't know, there's getting to be too much of this.
Maybe gets back to that point I made possibly off cast about, okay, what audience are they going for? Are they going here for the kind of the display art object kind of thing? Or are they going more for the play?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying those two things have to be mutually exclusive, But I also kind of wondered, okay, it's a role-playing game. I'm not saying you have, like, I wrote something. So I'm not saying, no, what am I trying to say? Okay, Hugo and Nebula award-winning writer. Sounds like it's amazing credit, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That person's not going to be at the table running your game. So
Yeah.
what the heck does their story ability, like, I'm not saying, right? Like, I'm not saying that you don't want the book to be written crappily or that they didn't do a good job writing the book. But what I'm saying is the accolades of the person who wrote the book doesn't necessarily translate at all over to what happens when another person opens it up and starts running it. And maybe I'm venting a little bit about how, like, the lessons I write at work are getting butchered by the instructors teaching them. And I got a little action. Sorry, but that's what's making me think of, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's interesting. There's a lot of this coming out, and I think and I've even noticed that with, like, mobile games and stuff too. I'm seeing ads for, like, it's a relaxing thing, and you're like picking buttons off of a, it's like there's like, we need to de-stress and relax, and so pay us,
Well, I always wonder, like, every time I see cozy, right, I'm just like, doesn't fit what you're doing here, right? Like, what part of this, like, we got to find all these certain buttons before the time runs out. I'm like, how is that cozy and relaxing and stressful, right? But I think, the whole, Chris is on fire. Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week, right? So, like, whenever I see that cozy, similar to whenever I see the word adult, and I think, this is going to be juvenile as fucking hell, right? Whenever I see like cozy, I'm like, okay. Someone else brought up a really good point that, like, the Studio Ghibli cozy stuff works because there's darkness in those stories, right? Like, maybe it's not front and center, maybe the war is the background, or maybe those cozy things don't shy away from darkness and problems and stuff, instead choosing to, like, highlight the times, like, we all just had this kind of horrible experience, now we're going to focus on let's all sitting down and kind of de-stressing and eating dinner, right? Like, those are what kind of the movies and does. And I feel a lot of people now, or creators, forget that and just, like, everything's cozy and everything. I don't know why. Like, there's no dark.
Right. Yeah,
to put things into perspective.
Yeah, I couldn't understand because they kept making reference to this, like, disastrously chaotic, crazy thing that could happen.
To be honest,
in this game.
Total Hollywood was kind of a disaster.
Yeah, right. So, so maybe, I don't know exactly what that is. Maybe the teapot breaks, or the scones are burned.
Like we've said often that, right? Like, death as the failure state is boring, right? So there are any number of failure states that can be scaled to this kind of setting. Like you said, like, you kind of sound like a joke, like the tea party. Like, maybe it fucking does, right? Like, like, I'm serious. Like, you're in charge of hosting this tea party. Your own fucking teapot breaks for some reason, right? Like, everyone's going to be like, oh, this party sucks. And your animal status, your sophisticated animal status is going to go down, right? Like, that potentially is an interesting story.
Yeah,
right?
right.
And Jeremy disagrees. I can tell by that face right there, right? But, I mean, yes, it doesn't have to be, the stoats are coming to eat Toad in Toad Hall, right? Like, no, it's just like, fear of death here is exciting, but, like, if you don't follow up on it, it kind of like, we're in danger again. It becomes kind of kind of like a kid's thing where we know no one is going to die.
Yeah, right.
So, and again, I was watching the recent Asterix and Obelix thing on Netflix, which actually really good.
Was it good? Yeah.
It was, I mean, it's but, like, I started watching, I'm like, cartoon. No one is going to die. That doesn't mean there aren't stakes, and that doesn't mean, like, the stakes is someone gets hurt and isn't there to participate the next time, right? Or we're all going to have to move, or this person is going to get, right? Death doesn't have to be the only thing that's important. So I'm certainly not saying that this game can't do it, but I'm just, the mechanics better support whatever narrative it's trying to push.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. All right, and finally, an odd move, but probably smart with all the competition. Kickstarter probably decided they need to start making deals. Mantic Games is teaming up with Kickstarter exclusively through 2026. So kind of a new era of choose your platform here. So Mantic's crowdfunding, they've had a lot of success from crowdfunding, and now they will be only on Kickstarter for at least the next 2 years. They've officially made a deal. So they've crowdfunded things like Worms, the board game, Hellboy, the board game, Walking Dead, the board game, All Out War. So they've had a lot of licensed IP stuff, which I think works well on crowdfunding. They have launched nearly 30 Kickstarter projects to date. That's
and completed how many?
Oh, I think they've done pretty well. Yeah, I don't think they bailed on any of them. So they have the trust of tens of thousands of gamers and backers, and now they're going to cash that in.
There they are.
So yeah. So a quote from Ronnie Renton, the infamous Ronnie Renton, the indubitable. Kickstarter has placed a huge role in bringing our visions to life, connecting us with fans all over the world. The partnership allows us to focus on what we do best, creating incredible games while using the platform that shares our passion for community and creativity. So Kickstarter definitely will give them visibility. It'll definitely give them a lot more promotion, and they already have a history. People that have backed them several times in the past. So yeah, they're gonna kind of, I guess that'll give them a little bit more certainty, a little less risk if they were to move to BackerKit or GameFound. Who knows if that would shake up the base of backers they already have. So what's coming up for Mantic? A couple more, or at least one more licensed IP: Assassin's Creed Animus, the board game. So the Ubisoft series will be a board game, and they're bringing back Dreadball, their sci-fi kind of take on Blood Bowl. So their ultimate sci-fi sports miniatures game is going to come back and, of course, be kickstarted. And the head of Kickstarter Games said, "We are proud to be a platform where Mantic continues to bring the boldest ideas to life. Their hybrid model of retail, direct, and crowdfunding gives backers confidence, and their games speak for themselves." And it really is. I mean, they really they really don't. I mean, they basically everything is available in every way. They get the funding from crowdfunder. They sell stuff on their web store, but it also goes to all retail outlets as well. So yeah, they've had that. They've kind of handled that. But the thing that's always frustrating I want to root for Mantic, and they're definitely a second place and kind of maybe a distant second place. But I think they still, because they are former Games Workshop people, they still have the mentality that they're in this business, and they're not an indie company. They don't have that mentality. There's much less do it yourself. They're just I would hope. I mean, I think that would be a better way to compete, right? So they never go like full indie in their approach to stuff. It still is very industry, and they're dealing with Chinese plastic and just doing the best that they can with the same business model as Games Workshop minus the inflated prices. So they have like a lot of attitude, but they're still like they kind of act like they're a strong second, but they're actually a very distant second.
They're too big.
Maybe it's just because they came from that, and they don't think differently. They didn't come from they didn't build this from the ground up. They just kind of took the 90s GW business model and tried to do it themselves.
They've got 30 successful Kickstarters.
Oh yeah, and they haven't had any big hiccups. I think they do, because they came from kind of a grounded manufacturing kind of business, that they don't take big risks, and if they produce kind of crappy miniatures or crappy board game miniatures. It's just because that was the best that they could do with the budget. Like they budgeted it. This is the best we can do. We got some quality control issues, but this is the factory we chose because they gave us a better price. And it's a lot of, you see a lot of business in there, which makes it harder to go team. But
I wonder what an exclusive thing with Kickstarter.
Gives
them. Like you said, probably just more advertising.
Well, and I bet they lowered their take too. I bet that they are going to take a less, because they've been getting big pieces of Mantic for a while. So maybe be exclusive with us, and we'll give you a little break on that. And also, I just read, I don't have any details on this, but Kickstarter is doing now their own pledge manager. So they're going to do their own back end. So you don't go to BackerKit or GameFound for fulfillment and payment. You stay in Kickstarter. So this may be, Mantic may be taking advantage of this, getting a better deal on processing and all that good stuff.
Or maybe Kickstarter said, okay, we want to make sure we got the big money makers using our new pledge manager. So you want an exclusive deal with us? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And CMON is going away. So
Well,
yeah,
also
probably
that's the
Mantic.
thing, too, yeah.
Yeah, Mantic is a good second choice
Yeah,
because
maybe
they
like,
get
we got to get someone else in here soon. Yeah.
right. So we'll see. Yeah, so that was interesting news, and yeah, the fact that Kickstarter is going to try to do it all themselves, that could mean a big shift for them. And if they have trouble, if the platform isn't good and people get frustrated, that will chase them to BackerKit and GameFound. So we'll see how it goes. So that's going to do it for this week.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Blue Sky and Instagram and select Facebook groups. It's Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where my latest thing last night was a multi-tweet thread about how bad Love, Death, and Robots Volume 4
Oh,
was,
nice.
Anyway. 2 for 10.
Whoa.
2 for 10.
Oh.
That is like bad numbers, right?
Not a great record.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway. How about you?
So yes, I will be doing, not this week, next week, my cartoon live stream. So Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch. I draw a single panel gag cartoon, eat some Japanese snacks from the convenience store, and basically it's a long form kind of hangout live stream. You can find that Abuse Cartoons on both YouTube and Twitch, and also on this channel. Unfortunately, I invade Turntable and surprise everybody on here. But yeah, just a nice hangout version of what we're doing. You can read the comic on gocomics.com/domestic abuse, and 20 years, so thousands of those little things. And but if you like what we're doing here on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling.
The strongest of all supporters. Except that's on the Patreon, not down here at the YouTube.
Right, yes, right. So you can do that at patreon.com/upturntable. Tell us what you want to see more of on the weekly, and also show us kind of what you want to support on the channel. Actual plays, unboxings, lore videos, all kinds of good stuff.
Audio track commentary.
Yes, audio. Yes. Tell us if you want to see.
People seem to like that.
Yeah. We should give that a shot. And yes, so Upturned Table on all platforms, social media platforms. Upturntable.com is the website. And just posted so Astro Inferno flip through, and then Matt did a great great. So a lot of RuneQuest. There was the Star Wars D20 in there. A lot of second edition Advanced D&D. A ton of stuff that went through. So kind of a little history of kind of a time capsule of 90s, of 80s, mostly 80s, 80s RPGs. So that's going to do it for this week, and thank you to the backers and the patrons and members. And you can become a member to the YouTube channel. Everything is similar to what you get on Patreon, except the RSS feed. That's not worked out, but the audio for this live stream goes on the RSS feed, so you can listen to just that, minus the beautiful visuals.
I don't think you're selling it.
Oh no! and then so thanks for all our current members and patrons, and that's going to do it. We'll be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.
I feel like it's a man in a giant robot suit and a pig.
sorry about that. That was the one thing I forgot to fix from last time, is that horrible Chris Cox video. Give you a little bit more of that. Oh, we got some announcements going on the street there. Am I coming? Yeah, everything seems to be working. Okay, I guess I can slide over here a bit. Jam the chat in the corner. So how's everybody going? Sorry about that. The sound was off there for a while. I forgot that switching sources didn't mean that I was switching audio sources. So we'll see. So good to see you, everybody in the chat. Yeah, so I guess Chris was watching Love and Robots and kind of live tweeting or kind of complaining about that on probably Blue Sky, whatever it's called there. All right. Nice. Oh. Uh-oh. Matt's taking a road trip to Kansas. What? Nice. Okay, I'll fly in for the road trip. Who's driving? I don't have an American license anymore, so I can just I can act all confused. I can use the translation, the DMV, Japanese DMV translation of my license. Nice. Oh, Arturo's saying, Matt Colville had a great stream explaining why some companies can offer cheaper PDFs than others. Oh, a few years ago. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Oh, cool. Yeah. That's something. Clarion second in that. That might be a fun thing to do, is do a commentary. So go back and do our Blade Runner and Alien stuff, and everybody that played can kind of, just like a DVD commentary. We can just talk about, what was going on in certain scenes or certain thoughts, and even just our opinions about the game. And that might be a fun thing. We can't do that on YouTube. I mean, we could do a whole other video on YouTube, and maybe I'll do that for the members so the content is equal. But you can do that if I'm depending on the type of video I export. I can do that with multiple audio tracks, so that might be a fun way to go. Special features. Yeah, I wish those weren't dying so badly. One of the streaming platforms was trying to do that for a while. They had, to make it give you more reason to come to their platform, they had additional content and commentary stuff, and also like the behind the scenes videos and stuff. I wonder what the rights situations to a lot of that stuff is, because it's if it's still floating around or not, because every time they do like a big collection of Alien or whatever, they'll try to get all those docs and the behind the scene stuff there. What Department of Education? Yeah, that's exactly. Haven't they given up on that idea? That's really sad. Yeah, so I think the counterfeiter, it's they eliminate, like we're talking about GW and the counterfeiters, they eliminate that stuff, and then it just comes back because it's so easy to set up other accounts. Like they can freeze and delete these accounts, but it's especially if these are not in the UK, if these are Chinese based people, it's just like the same kind of thing as phone scammers and stuff that use basically like mules, like money mules, to like they'll connect with somebody as a friend or romantic interest or whatever online, and then they'll say, my friend wants to send me some money, I don't have an account in the US, can I use your PayPal or Venmo to forward this thing? So a lot of scammers are doing that kind of thing. So of course, if you're counterfeiting, you're openly doing something illegal, you're not going to play by the rules. And I think that's why so many kind of more innocent people get caught up. Some people that are trying to scam the algorithm and put Warhammer and stuff, and a lot of streamers even do that too, like people that stream other miniatures games or painting other miniatures, they always put 40k, and the actual players always put Dungeons and Dragons, because they know people will find it, and maybe after they get over the disappointment we'll watch it. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah. So it's a yeah, funny thing, and it's in this like digital age. It's still funny that the recasters like that, all of the stuff you can buy in resin is like people buying sprues and physically casting the sprues and then constructing and putting together, or giving you a bag of pieces or putting together the more expensive miniatures. And it's kind of like counterfeiting money. It's only worth doing it with $100 bills, because anything else you can't make a profit on. So a lot of the times the counterfeit stuff is the higher price tag stuff, the bigger models, or stuff that was exclusive, like when they do stuff exclusive to events or whatever that's no longer available. People recast the hell out of those. Yeah, but it's something, with a big global market, they're never gonna be able to completely take that away. So people are always gonna be passing around those sources. But I think it was getting a little out of control, especially the not even miniatures. I mean, just the people reproducing images, like art images and things, and kind of supporting stuff. Like throw like blankets and pillows and stuff. Like all of those Alibaba and stuff had a ton of obviously just stolen artwork that they were printing on a ton of like crazy stuff. Matt's not running it. Is that Astro Inferno? Or is that Cozy? What, the Riverbank or whatever? Today's snack table has Doritos with chopsticks, cheese and crackers. Nice. Yeah, right. Odag said, "Why does every cozy game have to be about anthropomorphic animals?" Yeah, some of those, like Stupid, I think are I forget the gimmick, but it's like after you're a retired adventurer, or you're decided just to work at an inn or whatever. Am I getting a buzz? Is that here? Yeah. Sorry, Chris's mic was buzzing a little bit, although not. This is going to screw up the noise reduction. But yeah, we'll see. All right, now we can catch up on the chat here. We're eating barbecue. Oh yeah. Those extended features on the Lord of the Rings extended Blu-rays is pretty awesome. Yeah, plus they did a lot of just a lot of stuff, and I think Peter Jackson was kind of aware of that, because they even did like internet series. Like they would do they would post videos on a website like during the production and everything. So all of that content gets put on there. Those big extended, I can't believe even the extended, there's stuff that is still missing from those gigantic extended editions. There's scenes that they totally couldn't use. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get some Fallout in. I didn't announce it on the podcast, just in case. But I think we've got Terry, not until late, and we may have Dylan back on a tablet. So we should be able to finish off this Fallout and then move on to other stuff. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, and so not this Sunday, not this weekend, but next weekend we're going to get back to some Frostgrave. So we're going to try one of the campaigns, because when we're doing the battle for the treasure, 3 people gets pretty unbalanced really fast, even with the roaming monsters spawning. So we're going to do a more objective based scenario stuff, more narrative. So we'll try that and see how that goes. It's a fun game, but yeah, you gotta play with an even number of players, or do something other than just beat the hell out of each other every session. Or it can tend to snowball, because depending on where you put your experience, like where you put your levels, you can become unstoppable with some of those spells. Some of the spells can get pretty overpowered. Yeah, I think mind control is going to be our nemesis for a while. I'll just have to make all of my soldiers self-destruct. All right. Yeah. So it was just a bunch of random kind of tariff talk, and then that copyright office thing was depressing as well. AI could win, and we already knew there'd probably be no repercussion, and even if there was, it would be like a monetary penalty. It's not that you can't use this technology anymore; it's that you pay a little extra for the and which is a huge discount compared to licensing all the content that they stole, because it's transformative, and anybody that doesn't agree can go ahead and lose their job. So we'll see. I hope we can get back to that. That'll be some fun. But Churro says, used to play a game with Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings where you would take a hit of pot every time someone on screen is smoking pipe weed. The extended editions destroy you, I would imagine. Nice. Those damn hobbits. Yeah, that's the thing that no illustrator of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings accurately portrayed is how baked the hobbits would look all the time. Red, kind of tiny eyes. Nice. Oh, cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, Otero put some pics of his collection on the Discord. Yeah, so if you're a member or patron, hit us up to come talk with us on the Discord. Very cool. Yeah, you guys are really jumping on there. Every time I check in, I have to I have to go through a bunch of missed discussions. But that's cool. Yeah, that was really fun, Matt. That was a great idea. I'm glad you were able to do that, come up with a setup that worked, because everything was very readable and worked really well for that video. That was fun to watch, and it was fun to watch together too. It was fun to do that as a premiere and just kind of talk through everything again. So yeah, so we'll do some we'll try some commentaries. We'll see. Unfortunately, well, I guess the probably doing the edited ones would be the best, because doing commentary for the kind of uncut stuff, it's so much time. It's going to take us like 4 hours to record a 4-hour commentary, but the stuff will be cut down to like 1 hour episodes. So I'll have to get to editing. Yeah, I've got the second Blade Runner case file that needs that treatment, and Alien I think could do well kind of cutting that up, because we have a lot of the assets for that, so that could work well. More editing. Abyss says no one wants to read my rants on Discord. Snow White, yay! We get the real Snow White in there. Oh yeah, that's right. So I'm working on replacing the kind of outdated emojis. But yeah, so Abyss, yeah, if you I couldn't figure out how to get them off of the post, and maybe it was just because it was the mobile app. But I've the new emojis that both you and Abyss and Matt posted, I need to get those off of Discord. I haven't tried it on the desktop yet. That's probably my mistake. But yeah. Oh, nice. Indie Heat is about half done. That's cool. Back in my day, Dungeons and Dragons used to be advanced. It wasn't just 5e of the world's greatest role-playing game or whatever. Yeah, once you've gone there with your marketing, yeah, it's really funny. And not letting the third-party people say Dungeons and Dragons. Yikes. Yeah, that's good. That'll be fun to get back to the 80s. And yeah, we've got a lot of options after that as well. So yeah, it'll be good. Oh, and oh right, and we're gonna try to maybe do a group unboxing with Outgunned Adventure. So Matt's got Outgunned Adventure. Mine still hasn't shown up. I think I got a notice. I think we're just last. I think, and the rest, other locations were the last to go out. But yeah, it's coming eventually. But that would be cool to kind of the same way that Matt did with the box of RPGs, is just to open the box on camera, share that video with us, and then we can stream that out. And so we'll have a real time, kind of discussion and reaction to it. That could be cool. So yeah, we'll keep experimenting with content that works on the channel. And I'm still contemplating, because I went to the Gundam pop-up shop in Umeda in Osaka, and they had a bunch of stuff from the expo, the Gundam Pavilion in the Osaka Expo. And I'm really contemplating destroying all my channels by doing some Gundam content. I don't know how well that'll go over, but yeah, I've got a bunch of fun models now that might be good. And it's a lot of I'm curious about it because they're really pushing, and maybe just for accessibility to the hobby, the no cut, it's just like you're pulling them off the sprue and putting them together. I guess it's like push fit, for Warhammer, but it sounds a little rough. And also they did, Bandai's doing like experimental plastics now. So I bought one of the models that's in an eggshell plastic, which means the plastic, the sprues, like the channels for the runners for the models, when you throw them away, they'll biodegrade. But doesn't that also mean that the model will biodegrade as well? So maybe if you varnish it or whatever, you coat it in acrylics, it'll be fine. But yeah, I'm curious about how that feels to work with, and what that was. So there was a whole series of eggshell plastics, because Japan is so eco and green and all that good stuff. Yeah. Do we not have real life? Yeah, we've got real scale Gundams, but they don't do much. They just light up and entertain us, and then have a gift shop near their feet somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. And my excuse, or I'm trying to, the War Games coming out, that Gundam Assemble is coming out next year, but I pre-ordered. They're out in July. I pre-ordered a couple of the card game with the model kits in them, so we'll take a look at those on the channel as well. So that'll be an excuse to include Gundam. I don't know. Yeah, it's just that should be its own channel or something, or probably, but we'll see. I don't think I could have time for enough content on a model kit channel. Yeah, need to stay focused. I need a VTuber avatar. Yeah, that would be the best. Something younger and less disheveled. Yeah, that was I didn't really bring that up when we were talking about that cozy RPG, but the funny thing is that revised 5th edition was getting a little cozy, the dwarves baking the biscuits or whatever they were doing, and everything was looking a little, everyone's smiling and being family, and that was a little weird. It all looks like university, like photos of promoting a university in the States. It doesn't look like D&D. So yeah, I think Dungeons and Dragons is cozying itself out. We'll see. I will only speak in my anime form. I only speak Japanese. Oh man, that's not good. Very funny. Oh geez, top 3 Gundam. Well, the first one I watched like live when I was in Japan was the 00. I love the original, 79, the classic series. But my other favorite, I'm blanking on it, is the 00. Is it 85? I think it was an OVA series. I don't know if it was on TV. Oh, that's the setting for G-Quax. So the original, the 0079 original Gundam series. is wonderful, because that sets up the, I think, the story the best. And it's a little, when they made the funny thing is, when they made the movies, because I guess originally on TV it didn't get much attention, like it didn't do well in ratings on television, so they took episodes and kind of released them. They did like 3 Gundam movies, theatrical releases, and they just put episodes together. But these are weekly television episodes, so the states of the characters change like dramatically. Like one episode they're friendly, the next episode they're betraying everyone, the next episode they're back to normal. But what's the one with shoot? Yeah, but the 00 that 00 series with the where they kind of it was the kind of first time it was more grounded, but not. I guess it was similar to Gundam. I'm not a big Gundam Wing fan. I like the Gundam, the Z or Zeta as well, but the 007 or 0079 is definitely one of my favorites. And then the 00, not and Unicorn is good too, but what is the I think it's just called Mobile Suit 00, yeah, with the wow, 11th. That was the 11th Gundam series. Jeez. But that was the one that I like watched when the episodes came out on television, and then the models came out that same week. So when they would introduce a mobile suit in the show, there would be the model kit in the store, and that was just like this was like bubble Japan kind of feeling, where they had the whole system was working. When stuff gets released, on streaming or DVD or whatever, you don't get the you don't get that whole marketing thing working well. So that the Mobile Suit Gundam 00, and that was only 2 seasons. Wow, 2007. I've been here forever. 2007. I watched that live on. That was the first, like new release series. Crazy. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, that's what we have to do. That's what we're gonna do with we should also like pre-plan that, so we can do subtitles, so we can do like burnt in subtitles on the live stream. Is just do a whole Japanese cast. Ugh, that would be funny. Nice. Yeah, so we'll see, but I might do some of that model stuff, because I also got the program for the expo thing, so it might just be fun for people that aren't going to make it to Japan for the expo to see what kind of weird thing they did to promote Gundam. So they're promoting Hello Kitty and Gundam and probably Pokemon at the expo. It's very odd. I don't think they did that in Dubai. Japan promoting their soft empire. All right. Yeah, that was the choices for the miniatures game are going to be a little bit odd too. Let's see, because they had the typing. So their official website here, the kits that they had. I guess this is all going to get released internationally. So there's going to be Spanish, at least the website. So there's going to be Spanish and English versions. That's cool. But they're doing the kind of special versions. They're double priced, but they have like 3 miniatures, I think, in each one. And where's the breakdown? Oh yeah, so they've got Heroic Beginnings, which is the 0079, or no, it's actually, look, it's got a little bit of every one of the starter the starter Gundams in there. And then Wings of Advance is the, I guess that's Gundam Advance. It's that the suit that I didn't recognize. And then they've got a Xeon one, and then the Gundam Wing, of course. But yeah, Yeah. So these are going to be on. I think it looks like it's going to be on sprues. Painting is required, and we'll see. So yeah, those will be out in. Yeah, so it just looks like gray plastic and black bases. So those will be out in July. So I'll do something with those on the channel. Yeah, the special editions have the miniatures in them. Yeah, so 3. So the Heroic Beginnings. Oh no, it just has the Gundam, the gun tank, gun cannon, and gun tank. So yeah, no, it's not. It's maybe the card game has some of the other starting Gundams. I don't know. We'll see. And I think it's D10s, D8s, D10s. Yeah, they don't have any details about the game yet because that's not out until next year. So Heroic Beginnings, Wings of Advanced, Xeon's Rush, and Seed Strike. With the appropriate, yeah. So July 11th is the release date. Okay, enough Gundam talk. Should be in Swedish, yeah. Swedish subtitles on our Japanese live stream. We're clearly pandering to to Free League. Yeah, right. You could have a separate discussion. I don't know what the hell this is. Yeah, the U.S. didn't really ever get. I think Canada got Gundam on television. We didn't really get it until the VHS and DVD phase of anime. So only that the real hardcore or people that had visited Japan or whatever even really knew much about Gundam. The model kits kind of made it to some of the import shops, but America didn't get a lot of non-bootleg Gundam video. So yeah, once like video downloading was viable on the internet, you could see a lot of the older series, and a lot of them were never translated into English or dubbed into English as well. A lot of the like straight to video, the original video animation, the OVA stuff, I don't think got even localized. But yeah, and so if you're Canadian, maybe you've seen a lot more Gundam than anybody. But yeah, it's a good setting. They do a good job of telling like a weird story. I don't know if it's because it was 79, so pretty early days. But the idea is that humans have set up space colonies, and so a lot of people are just born in space, and so Xeon kind of rises as this group that wants to is unhappy with how the Earth Federation is like running things, and starts to do kind of terroristic attacks. And one of the big events is they crash an entire colony on the Earth and have like a really devastating effect. So it's just this long drawn out war between people born in space and people born on Earth. And I think that's a good, they're not drawing any, I mean, even though Xeon is a little, I don't know, Germany looking maybe, but there's not a real distinction. It doesn't look so exactly like, at least in that original series, so exactly like inspired by, real events kind of thing. But yeah. That would be fun. Done D&D. I think we're done with that emoji, aren't we? Done D&D. Abyss is getting the most out of those emojis. Nice. Oh, cool. A One Ring campaign. But immediately disappointed me when he told me he was only going to use the Fighting Fantasy. He says, no way. Oh, that's funny. Wow. So I asked him, why aren't you using the Free League mechanics for the One Ring? He said, do you like failing all the time? Wow, that's funny. Okay, I'll keep the regular ones. The standard. But yeah. So let's do this again. So yeah, take a look. Even if Fallout completely falls apart, we'll stream something. Maybe maybe as a backup, we'll try to do the Outgunned unboxing if we can't do Fallout. But we'll come up with something because we've got we've got mothership characters and all kinds of good stuff. We can. Oh yeah, and we can get into the. I haven't read enough of it, but we can get into the campaign for Dragonbane as well. If we keep rolling with the pre-gens from the starter set from the Rudermund, that might be a lot of fun too. Well, cool. Smug Edge is the best one. Nice. Yeah, I put a link to it a while ago. If you look on the community tab on YouTube, I think there's a link to it, and there should be, or there was once upon a time. I kind of called some of the links on in the description text for the video. Yeah, no, it's not on there, but it's in one of our shops. I should actually put that on the like promote that on the YouTube channel instead of the random t-shirts. The mug. Get the mug on there. Yeah, I'll make that switch, because I think you can go in and edit the store, or like what displays below your video, and right now it's just nonsense. All right. Oh, cool. There's a link. All right, yeah. So hopefully Fallout, we'll be doing something. We'll hang out and do something. It won't be Riverbank, the Riverbank RPG. But yeah, should be good. So thanks everybody for hanging out in the chat with us. It's great to see a nice active chat, even when things veer into Gundam territory. Yeah. So let's do this again soon. All right. So take care, and see you next week. Goodbye.